Today I'm going to be talking about the Kansas state. Kansas is a U.S. state in the Midwestern United States. Admitted as a free state, Kansas became the 34th state on 29th January 1861. Its capital is Topeka and its largest city is Wichita. Kansas is bordered by Nebraska in the north, Missouri in the east, Oklahoma in the south, and Colorado in the west. The state is known for its vast plains, but it isn't all flatlands. The total area is 231,100 square kilometers, and the land area 211,754 square kilometers. The total population for 2020 was 2,915,379 people. The population density of Kansas was 13 inhabitants per square kilometer. The official language is English. Kansas Governor Kathleen Sebelius signed legislation on May 11, 2007 to make English the official language of Kansas. Kansas population for 2020: 2,915,270 people. The ethnic groups in Kansas: 75.6% are white non-Hispanic, 8.42% are white Hispanic, Black or African American non-Hispanic 5.6%, Asian non-Hispanic 2.95%, Native Americans 0.82%. 11.8% of the people in Kansas speak a non-English language and 95.7% are U.S. citizens. Kansas is named after the Kansas River, which in turn was named after the Kansas Native Americans who lived along its banks. The tribe's name is often said to mean people of the South Wind. For thousands of years, Kansas was home to numerous and diverse Native American tribes. Tribes in the eastern part of the state generally lived in villages along the river valleys. Tribes in the western part of the state hunted large herds of bison. The nickname of the Kansas state is the Sunflower State. Admitted as a free state, Kansas became the 34th state on 29th January 1861. Its capital is Topeka. The biggest city of the Kansas state is Wichita. The flag of the state of Kansas was adopted in 1927. It consists of the dark blue field with the seal in the center, a sunflower and a bar above the seal, and the word Kansas below it. The official seal of the Kansas state. The Kansas state has currently 2 official marches: the Kansas March and Here is Kansas, as well as 1 official state song, Home on the Range. The Kansas March was referred to as an official state march 1935, and Here's Kansas as an official march of Kansas 1992. 1947 became Home on the Range the official state song of Kansas. The Kansas March was written by Duff Middleton, director of instrumental music in the Wichita schools from 1928 to 1947. The words and music to Here's Kansas were written by Bill Post. Its motto is "To the Stars Through Difficulties." Its official song is "Home on the Range."
Oh, give me a Louisiana home, where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.
History of the Kansas State. The first people settled in Kansas at least 12,200 years ago. Thousands of years later, Native American tribes, including the Kansa, Osage, Pawnee, Kiowa, and Comanche, lived in the land. Kansas' path to statehood was long and bloody. During the 18th century, the land was traded between France and Spain before becoming a U.S. territory. The first European to reach the area was Spanish explorer Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, who came in 1541 looking for cities made of gold that were rumored to exist. He didn't find any. French explorers from Canada and fur traders arrived in 1673, and France took ownership of the area in 1800. It became a U.S. territory in 1803 when the United States bought this land and much more from France. This transaction was called the Louisiana Purchase. In 1854, the U.S. government, the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, decided to allow people to vote for or against slavery. They had to decide whether the territories would be admitted as free or slave states in the period leading to the Civil War. When the North and South competed to send the most settlers to the area, the great violence broke out there, so there were many fights between these people, but those against slavery won. Kansas suffered the highest mortality rate of any Union state. Because of the great violence during this time, Kansas became known as the Bleeding Kansas. So, admitted as a free state, Kansas became the 34th state in 1861, less than 3 months before the Civil War began. As the 34th state entered the Union, southern states were trying to form the Confederate States of America. Within months, the turmoil that brewed in Kansas had engulfed the nation. The Civil War officially began on April 12, 1861. Kansas immediately came to the support of the North. Senator James Lane led a group of Kansas men in frontier guard to protect the White House. In that war, Kansas really suffered the highest mortality rate of any Union state. After the war ended, thousands of Civil War veterans from both sides of the conflict made their homes in Kansas, earning the nickname the Great Soldier State. Some of those who came to Kansas were formerly enslaved people who found hope and opportunity to live in a free land. Today, Kansas' main industries include manufacturing, bioscience, wind energy, professional services, renewable fuels, and bioenergy. Family-owned farms and ranches account for most of the state's approximately $20 billion agriculture industry. Kansas is a major producer of wheat, beef, grain sorghum traditionally used for livestock feed and some ethanol plants. State animal, buffalo. State bird, western meadowlark. State flower, sunflower. And here you can also see its state quota. Agriculture of Kansas. Though the state's official nickname is the Sunflower State, it's also known as the Wheat State. And that's for good reason, since that became the state's most important output in the late 19th century. Kansas leads the nation in wheat production. Today, about 90% of the land area of Kansas is devoted to agriculture production. Besides wheat, the most important crops in Kansas are corn, soybeans, grain sorghum, and hay. Kansas farmers produce hard red and hard white winter wheat. Hard wheat is used to make a variety of bread products. According to the Kansas Department of Agriculture 2010, nearly 1/5 of all wheat grown in the United States is grown in Kansas. Roughly 1/3 of the 63,000 Kansas farmers grow wheat. Normally, Kansas farmers produce about 400 million bushels of wheat a year, with a production value that hovers around $1 billion. Nearly 2/3 of the wheat raised in Kansas is exported to countries throughout the world. Much of the remaining wheat is milled into flour in Kansas mills. While the growing of food products is an important part of Kansas' economy, the same can be said of its cattle production. Kansas is the nation's second largest producer of beef cattle, behind only Texas. Industry of the Kansas state. The two leading industries are the manufacture of transportation equipment, as well as industrial and computer machinery. Wichita is the center of the aircraft industry, producing in huge quantities private planes. Especially in 2008, this industry was booming in Kansas. Wichita is one of the nation's top plane manufacturing cities. Other important manufacturers are petroleum, coal products, and non-electrical machinery. Along with oil and petroleum, Kansas is also known for its non-fuel industrial minerals. According to the Kansas Geological Society, those minerals include cement, clay and shale, crushed rock, dimension stone, gypsum, helium, salt, sand and gravel, sulfur, and volcanic ash. Kansas may not be a state that is well known for its mineral production, but the actual abundance of natural resources in Kansas would surprise the most people. The state is strongly Republican in presidential elections. Actually, the Kansas Republican Party has dominated Kansas politics since Kansas gained statehood in 1861. Kansas has had 45 governors, 32 Republicans, 11 Democrats, and 2 populists. Democrats have won control of the Kansas Senate only in the 1912 election, and control of the Kansas House only 3 times. In the 1912, 1976, and 1990 elections. Since the 1968 election, Kansas has consistently voted for the Republican presidential candidate. And since 1860 has voted for the Republican presidential candidate 20 times, the Democrat 6 times, and the populist once. Religion in Kansas. There are 81.3% Christian, of them 61.3% Protestant and 20% Catholic. 70.5% no religion. 0.8% LDS, and 0.4% other religions. Kansas has so many tornadoes, it has the nickname Tornado Valley. Some important facts about the Kansas state. Kansas is the home of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. You can still see her home in Liberal, Kansas. Kansas produces enough wheat in a year to provide every person on earth with 6 loaves of bread. Pizza Hut Restaurants opened its first store in Wichita, Kansas. Every type of prairie habitat can be found in Kansas. Helium was discovered in 1905 at the University of Kansas. William Purvis and Charles Wilson of Goodland invented the helicopter in 1909. Dutch City is the windiest city in the United States, with an average wind speed of 14 miles per hour. Sumner County is known as the wheat capital of the world. Kansas leads the nation in wheat production. Kansas is the nation's second largest producer of beef cattle, behind only Texas. Almon Brown Strowger invented the dial telephone in 1889. Amelia Earhart, the first woman granted a pilot's license by the National Aeronautics Association, and the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, was from Atchison. Kansas was the first state to ratify the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which gave African American men the right to vote. Kansas has so many tornadoes, it has the nickname Tornado Valley. Wichita is one of the nation's top plane manufacturing cities. That's all for now. Thank you for attention. I hope you enjoyed it.